My world was spinning violently when the panic attack hit me.
In the hospital emergency room, the absolute worst possible place for this to happen.
I was there with my injured roommate Parker, who twisted his ankle badly during basketball practice.
But the crowded waiting area, with its overwhelming medical smells and blaring overhead lights, completely overwhelmed my senses.
My vision began tunneling. My chest felt like an invisible hand was crushing it, and my breathing turned shallow.
Desperately, I grabbed the muscled shoulder of a tall stranger standing beside me, needing something solid to anchor me back to reality.
Anything to ground me before I completely lost control in front of everyone. Big mistake. Massive, irreversible mistake.
The second my trembling hand made contact with his broad shoulder, a violent jolt tore through my entire body like an electrical current, making every hair stand on end. The stranger, a massive scar-faced alpha werewolf, his dark green eyes went completely pitch black for a single second.
Then flashed bright, molten amber, as if some internal fire had ignited deep within.
He immediately grabbed my wrist, not roughly, but with an incredibly firm and possessive grip, and stared at me directly, as if the entire chaotic emergency room had suddenly disappeared, and only the two of us existed in this moment.
Stay right there.
The hospital staff immediately noticed something abnormal was happening.
An experienced nurse, clearly familiar with supernatural emergencies.
Judging by her...
Her quick response.
Sir, please release the Omega immediately.
I am not leaving without him.
But he needs treatment. Please.
Nurse. An experienced nurse, clearly familiar with supernatural emergencies.
Judging by her...
Her quick response.
Riker said without breaking his intense eye contact, an edge of warning in his voice.
During a vulnerable state, reached out for me specifically. Do you understand exactly what that means?
The nurse's face visibly paled, all color draining completely.
Oh no, not a proximity bond. That hasn't happened in this hospital in over a decade.
I was in complete confusion, my panic attacks still gripping me tightly and making coherent thought nearly impossible. But strangely, Riker's overwhelming presence, his distinctive comforting aura mixed with something grounding, somehow calmed me against all logic and reason.
I was in complete confusion, my panic attacks still gripping me tightly and making coherent thought nearly impossible.
And patiently waited until my erratic breathing gradually normalized and the shaking stopped.
You're in Josai. You're an idiot. Do you have any idea what you just did?
I was panicking badly. I needed something solid. I couldn't breathe properly.
Understood. You created a proximity bond. Ancient werewolf biology that most people dismiss as just mythology.
In the same month.
When an Omega in a vulnerable moment physically reaches out to an Alpha seeking help or protection.
As a subconscious claim, your Omega recognized me as a protector before your conscious mind even processed who I was. My heart dropped violently. That's not real, that's just old mythology nobody actually believes. It is real, believe it or not, it's irrelevant.
Tell that to my wolf who's currently losing his mind, wanting to drag you somewhere safe and isolated where nobody else can touch you.
I can smell every single emotion you're feeling right now. Fear, confusion, residual panic.
Tell that to my wolf who's currently losing his mind, wanting to drag you somewhere safe and isolated where nobody else can touch you. And if I don't come? I challenged, though my voice shook. Then my wolf will track you down using the bond connection. And trust me, Omega, you want our next meeting to be on your terms in a controlled setting.
Not his terms when he's lost all patience and reason.
He abruptly left with military precision, leaving me standing there shaking and disoriented.
Parker finally emerged from the examination room with stitches in his eyebrow and his ankle wrapped.
Bro, you look like you've literally seen a ghost. What happened in the waiting room? You disappeared. I think I just accidentally bonded myself to a werewolf. Wait, the scary one with the brutal facial scar? Landon, that guy's literally campus legend status.
Rumor has it he got dishonorably exiled from some elite military werewolf unit for going completely rogue on a classified mission.
You don't accidentally bond with someone that dangerous.
But I had done exactly that without any intention or awareness. And now I had until tomorrow evening to decide. Go to that mysterious address and face whatever this bond meant, or ignore it and desperately hope that everything would somehow magically disappear. But that night, when I lay alone in my silent dorm room trying to sleep, I could smell Riker's distinctive scent as clearly as if he were physically present in the room. Despite being miles away, and on my left wrist where he gripped me firmly, a faint silver mark had appeared, suddenly shimmering in the darkness. When I examined it closely, this definitely wasn't going to be ignored. Reality was setting in whether I wanted it or not.
The mark pulsed faintly with warmth, and I found myself unconsciously tracing it with my fingertips, feeling the strange energy beneath my skin.
Parker had already fallen asleep in his bed across the room, snoring softly, completely unaware of the life-altering situation I'd stumbled into.
The mark pulsed faintly with warmth, and I found myself unconsciously tracing it with my fingertips, feeling the strange energy beneath my skin.
Ancient forum posts, deleted wiki entries, scattered references in supernatural folklore databases. Most sources claim they were extinct.
A relic of primitive werewolf society before modern pack structures evolved. The few detailed accounts I found
During moments of extreme vulnerability, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Sleep. We'll talk tomorrow.
How did he know I was awake? Could he feel my restlessness through this bond?
The thought was both terrifying and strangely comforting. I set my phone down and closed my eyes, trying to calm my racing thoughts.
But sleep came slowly, and when it finally did, my dreams were filled with amber eyes and the scent of pine and rain.
The entire next day I was completely distracted, thinking about that mysterious address in Riker. Focusing in classes proved nearly impossible.
With professors' voices becoming distant background noise that barely registered, Parker asked multiple times if I was okay, but I deflected every time. How could I explain that my entire biology had accidentally connected to a stranger? By evening, curiosity and an unavoidable pull made the decision for me.
I arrived at the address Riker had given me, an isolated warehouse conversion on the city outskirts, deliberately far from populated areas.
The building's exterior was industrial and uninviting, but once I stepped inside, the interior was surprisingly warm and lived in. Modern minimalist design mixed with unexpectedly comfortable furniture, extensive bookshelves lining the walls, and professional boxing equipment set up in one corner.
Riker was already waiting at the door as if he'd sensed my approach, arms crossed over his broad chest, expression carefully unreadable.
You came. I knew you would be here. Though I detected faint surprise. You didn't exactly give me a real choice.
He silently led me inside through the open space. The interior clearly reflected military precision, everything organized, clean, purposeful.
Not what I'd expected from someone with his dangerous reputation. Sit down. We need to have a serious discussion about what happens next, and what this bond actually means.
I sat nervously, hyper-aware of every movement he made. Riker initially paced restlessly like a caged predator. Proximity bonds are extremely rare in modern times.
They happen when an Omega's deepest survival instinct recognizes an Alpha as a protector during a genuine life-threatening crisis. It's fundamentally deeper than normal planned bonds, because it's rooted in pure instinctive trust at a subconscious.
So my Omega biology just independently decided you're trustworthy and safe without bothering to ask my actual opinion first?
And now we're permanently linked through that connection. I can feel your emotions clearly. Fear, confusion, curiosity, right now.
Your location registers in my awareness constantly. Your physical state, your well-being.
Can we break it somehow? I asked hesitantly, though part of me already knew the answer.
No. Only death breaks proximity bonds. Either yours or mine. That's the only way it ends.
So I'm just permanently stuck, bonded to a complete stranger forever?
You think I wanted this outcome? I've spent the last 5 years deliberately avoiding exactly this.
You're what? I quietly prompted. Dangerous. I'm exiled from my special operations unit because I killed 3 rogue werewolves during an explicitly unsanctioned mission.
They were actively trafficking Omegas across state lines, and my commanding officer said we needed to gather more concrete evidence before acting officially.
I didn't wait for permission. Got the captive Omegas out safely, eliminated all the threats.
But you saved innocent people who were suffering.
I broke direct chain of command during an active operation. In military structure, that's absolutely unforgivable, regardless of outcome. So no, Landon. You didn't accidentally bond with some hero. You bonded with a disgraced ex-soldier. But you'd do it again, I observed softly, watching his reaction. Save those trafficked Omegas.
This wasn't the monster Parker's campus rumors described. This was someone who consistently chose doing what was right over doing what was easy, regardless of personal cost.
So what happens now with us? We fight. Now we set clear boundaries to make this work. I won't interfere with your normal life, classes, friends, whatever. You won't interfere with mine. We manage the bond at a reasonable distance, just enough contact to keep it stable and
That's actually possible long-term? It has to be. I'll give you my phone number. If you feel the bond pulling uncomfortably,
We'll meet somewhere neutral in public, reset the connection through brief contact, then go our separate ways again.
Okay.
Simple system. It sounded clinical, emotionally cold, but maybe that was genuinely safer than the alternative of getting tangled in something neither of us wanted.
I felt a sudden, overwhelming wave of disorientation as I moved towards the exit. Riker was immediately there with supernatural speed. "Are you all right?" His strong hand steadying me before I could fall. "Just breathe. You're safe now."
When was the last time you actually ate a proper meal?
I had breakfast this morning, I think. Maybe just coffee. Actually, it's past 7 p.m. now.
The bond accelerates your metabolism significantly. You need to eat much more regularly now than before.
He efficiently made me a substantial sandwich, simple but clearly nutritious, and intently watched while I ate every bite, ensuring I finished completely.
The domestic moment felt strangely intimate, uncomfortable in its unexpected casualness. This doesn't change our arrangement. Boundaries still stand firm. This is just necessary maintenance. But when I finally left his warehouse and walked through the cold night air back toward campus, I realized that maintaining strict boundaries was because already I could distinctly feel him, even at this distance. The growing space between us felt physically uncomfortable, and judging by the text I received exactly 1 hour later, just 2 words, "You okay?" Riker was feeling that same uncomfortable pull too. Boundaries were going to be complicated. The next few days painfully proved that our planned boundaries were essentially a joke we were telling ourselves. Everywhere I went throughout my day, I could sense Riker's presence, not physically there beside me, but distinctly aware through the bond like a constant background hum. When I felt stressed about upcoming exams, sudden, unexpected waves of calm would wash over my anxiety. When I carelessly skipped lunch in the dining hall, an inexplicable strong urge to eat properly would hit me, as if someone was internally nagging me insistently about nutrition.